welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Rogue. And yes, I do mean that Rogue, the Rogue, as in the Rogue that inspired a million roguelikes and counting. So not exactly sure where to start with this. Other than...
So you may have heard of this thing that many games in these days have called graphics. This game is from before that.
It's kind of on the edge.
This game uses ASCII in relatively few colors to indicate walls, floors, and items and your character.
Well, yes. I mean,
since ASCII includes all of the letters of the alphabet, guess how many enemies there are in this? Guess how many different types of enemy there are in this game?
At least 26.
Exactly 26.
So they're not using the symbols.
The symbols are used for other things.
There we go. Yeah, so Galax got to experience the wondrousness of Rogue in all of its 1980s ported from Unix glory. So over to him for the full details. How does Rogue hold up in the year of 2024?
Well, I'm gonna start with so if you've ever played any game that has Mystery Dungeon in the title, you will be familiar with many of the trappings of this.
I was about to say, welcome home.
There are floors. When the rooms have doors. When you go to a door, you enter a hallway which is dark and between maps. You can only see stuff that is in the current room that you are in. And your goal is to explore the floor, gathering gold for score in this case because there is no meta progression. It's a rogue. And then items and stuff that let you live longer. Also, food, because while I was surprised that actually, as long as you're not wearing magic rings, apparently you actually have a pretty solid amount of food that you start with. Like I think the food counter goes down by 1 every step, and you start with something like 2,000 or 3,000 or something. That blinking green thing is the stairs, by the way. Just so you know. I recommend exploring the early floors, though, because you can actually find useful things occasionally. So yeah, there are floors, there are doors. Early on, it's mostly just that. A little further down, there start being dark rooms where you can only see stuff in a 1 tile from you radius. Oh yeah, I think I was in the middle of saying, you can't see monsters if they're not in the same room or section of hallway as you. You attack just by pushing toward things.
Mm-hmm.
So Petty has entered the thing where is trying to what you call a potion. Usually this is because as within, say, I think the Binding of Isaac has effectively this thing. There are potions, scrolls, wands, and staves, which is the plural of staff. So there's probably a secret room somewhere on the left side, but you don't need to worry about that. So shift plus period, Petty.
Fuck this game.
The letter I is in fact the ice monster, which is a monster that can shoot ice at you and freeze you.
No.
So yeah, there are those things, and there are different descriptors for them. The wands are made out of different metals. The staves are made out of different woods. the potions are different colors, and the scrolls are different random strings of characters. Those are all randomly rolled, like which set effect belongs to which color or material is rolled every time you go down, every run. So basically, like if you drink a potion and it heals you, you can call, okay, so red potions are healing potions. Or if you read a scroll and it like teleports you somewhere, you can name that name of scroll teleport. You actually start with fairly decent equipment. Some of these start you with nothing. You start with +1 ring mail, which gives you a protection of 5. And a +1 mace, which is, I think, 2d3 +1 to hit and +1 damage or something, which is above average for the things. You also start with a +1 short bow and 20 arrows. Would you like to know how you shoot arrows at things? Because for a long time, I was trying to hit things with my bow, and that is a bad idea.
Dare I ask?
To shoot arrows at things, you first equip your bow with W for wield. Almost every command in this, and this is supposed to be a selling point, is that there is a one letter, which can be 2 keystrokes if it's a capital, command for almost everything. So capital W is wear armor. Lowercase w is wield weapon. So you say W, and then you select the letter of your bow, and then you press T to throw arrows. And you press T, and then you select a direction that you want to throw it in, and then you choose the letter for the arrow. Thankfully, the A button is again, which repeats the last thing you did.
I see what they did there.
Almost everything is a letter that kind of makes sense. So Q is quaff for drink a potion.
Someone's getting
Z is
out of their word a day calendar there.
Yeah, Z is zap for point a wand or staff at something and activate it. R is read a scroll. So yeah, you're making your way through, fighting monsters as you run into them. There are traps, but you will fairly rarely see traps before you have to deal with them. Some enemies will drop items or money, but relatively few that you fight early on. And then eventually you die, and then it keeps track of how much gold you had and what floor you were on when you died, and then you try again.
People like this?
Meta progression had not been invented yet, although it does actually keep track of your high scores.
Oh, man.
There's also apparently a like save and suspend function, like you save your current run, but it like when you load it, you lose that. People liked it. Honestly, I can see why this was popular. It's clunky as fuck, but a lot of the charm of an actual dungeon crawler is like there.
It is. Yeah, it is worth noting that you are playing like the literal blueprint of so many games right here. Yeah.
I do recommend, if you want to play this, there are places. Get a copy of the instruction manual online somewhere. There are guides to what the various possible potions and wands and stuff are. Mm-hmm. That can be very helpful, just so like when you drink something and it says it tastes like slime mold, you know that that's a potion of see invisibility and not like poison.
Yeah. There's another notation I wish to mention, and that is there are a lot of versions of Rogue. Rogue is one of those mainframe games like Hunt the Wumpus or Colossal Cave Adventure.
Yeah, this is a particular version of it. I don't know
Yes.
which one.
Well, I have that information right here. This particular version is Epic's Rogue. Epic's being they of the winter games, summer games, fame among others. We've covered a few of the things on the program previously. It looks like Pixel Games UK picked up their catalog somewhere down the line. Anyway, it's Epic's Rogue. It's the version ported to MS-DOS, and it is version 1.49 of that port.
Yes, and this is by default running in DOSBox, although you could possibly get it running in something else.
Well, yes, because this is a port of Rogue. Mm-hmm. Rogue comes from Unix. That's why it's got all the ASCII.
Yeah, and in that version, I don't believe there were different colors normally because, they hadn't invented color monitors as a standard thing yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, this is an advanced version of Rogue.
Dwarf Fortress is not based on Rogue, but it's similar, and it does use a similar, hey, we're making the world out of ASCII and procedural generation stuff, but the actual play style is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Oh yeah, I don't believe there's any music. There are minor sound effects.
And PC speaker sound effects, by the way, not like ad-lib
like when
compatible.
You step on a poison dart trap, there's a little bit of a psst.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there's also, as you get further down, you may need to use the S button to search to find hidden doorways. Because there are sometimes doorways that are not visible. You can usually get a pretty good hint for this, though, because each floor is approximately divided into 9 grid segments. And usually there's either a room in or at least a passage through each of those areas. So yeah, obviously there's a lot of strategic decisions to be made, and also a lot of random shit that can completely defeat your strategy. Your goal is to get to floor, I think it's 26 or something, and get the amulet.
It is worth noting that Rogue isn't on a timer. So
and doesn't everything stop if you're not moving?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's something
that's why food ticks down when you step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that's actually been lost in a lot of modern interpretations of Rogue.
Right.
The Mystery Dungeon games are still stops when you don't move, I think. At least most of them are.
Yeah, the Mystery Dungeon games trying to remember what it was called, like Jupiter Hell or something, that we reviewed a couple of years ago. That was very, this is Rogue, but with modern graphics kind of deal. We still get some actual roguelikes that are like Rogue. But on the indie scene, it's been much more about, how far can we transpose the quintessence of Rogue into areas that the original developers could have never imagined.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, how much is this price wise?
Okay, this is $2.99.
For that, I think you can actually get a decent amount of enjoyment out of it, and also the historical interest if you're interested in dungeon crawlers or roguelikes at all.
Yeah.
It is extremely clunky. I do recommend playing with a cheat sheet of what button does what,
and a full keyboard, not a 65% or something like that. You're gonna want a full keyboard.
Yeah, you need ideally a full keyboard and number keys for best playable. Because again, if you don't have number keys and you don't feel like using a very odd selection of left-hand controls on the main keyboard,
God damn it, Sergeant.
it's not easy to move or attack on diagonals, which is something that you can do, and more relevantly, something that enemies will do.
Sergeant, I'm over here staring at my stream deck.
Anyway.
So yeah, that's there's not a whole ton to it, but they're not asking a lot for it. And it's interesting, and while you have to learn how to do some of the things, it's not super easy. You can get the hang of it pretty well.
There. One day you will get the Amulet of Yendor.
I made it down to floor 6 a few times, which is not that bad.
Right.
Unfortunately, though, with the random spawning, you never know if you're ever going to actually get... Like, on my very last run, I got a longsword on floor 1, and then I was actually doing way better than I was with the default, Mace or Morningstar weapon. Because it's like 3d4 or 4d4. I think it's 3d4 instead of, like, 2d3 damage.
Anyway, so anything else on Rogue here?
I think that's all.
All right.
Unless you guys have questions.
No.
No, I think we're good. Petty wishes us to move on. Anyway, so yeah, that'll about do it for Rogue here. Be sure to tune in after the break as we review Morkred.